Hey everybody, it's Kathy at Northstar Prepsteader here in Minnesota. And as you can tell, I'm in a different place here. I'm not in my usual spot at home in my den. And I have actually a very important guest with me. But we'll wait a few minutes and let everybody get on. I know it's Labor Day, it's a holiday, so there are going to be a lot of you that are with your families, you're partying, picnicking, whatever. And those of you in Florida and on the East Coast, I'm sure that you're either hunkered down or running right now. So, hey, Thrifty VG, thank you so much for coming. You're the first one in. How are things in Rhode Island? So, thanks for already giving me a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. We are kind of, oh, hey, RIG, how are you doing? Ian, thanks for coming. I appreciate it very much. You're making stuffed peppers tonight with chili and rice. Ooh, that sounds really good. Are they peppers from your garden by chance? Or, oh, that's good, Ian. So, anyway, yeah, hello, how are you doing? Overlook Valley Homestead is in the house. Thanks for all the hearts. I really appreciate that. Yes, I'm in a different place today. I'm actually at my parents' house. So, well, I'm sure they're very tasty, Thrifty VG. That's great. My peppers did not do really well this year. I think I got maybe 3 good ones, and that's it. My plants have just been attacked this year. So I know some people did really, really well with them and haven't done well with the tomatoes, but my tomatoes have done great. So, yes. All right, we've got 5 people in the house already. Awesome. I haven't looked at the radar recently. Yes, it is, Ian. That's definitely. Hey, Miss T. Oh, 90 in Nebraska. Oh, that's warm. It's we've got close to 80 here, but we've got a storm coming in that going to bring in some cool weather. Going to bring in some real cool weather. So, what have you guys been doing for Labor Day today? Are you doing anything special? So it's raining in Rhode Island. I'm sure that's not Dorian that's affecting you yet, but there's all kinds of stuff all over. So yes, we have a huge storm that's in right now North and South Dakota and northern Minnesota, and it's heading my way towards my home. So hopefully I can get back there this evening. Your first Husker football game was Saturday. Oh, that's good. You know what? College football is awesome. I always enjoyed watching the Johnnies so much. Our the college football team that we really like to support. And there was, hey Bev, how are you? Your tomatoes are starting to ripen. Oh, that's awesome. You smoked a beef brisket? Yeah, that's a pretty nasty storm. They're talking hail and everything. So yeah, I just hope that our tomatoes can make it through there and these squash that's out there won't get damaged. So, hey, Christy, good evening. How are you in sunny Southern California? Thanks for coming. You guys having a good holiday weekend? We had a picnic here, a little barbecue, and I know I was working on Labor Day, but it's kind of the nature of what I do here. So anyway, wanted to kind of talk to you tonight about Labor Day. I know we're only not even 5 minutes into this yet, but just because of the storm and some other things, I am going to probably keep this to just a half an hour tonight. Let you guys go and be with family. And yes, I was laboring on Labor Day, absolutely. So we're going to kind of get into things. So, oh, Ian, your leaves are turning color already. Ours Ours are getting close. There's some trees that are starting to curl or turn a little bit at this point, but I wanted to talk about Labor Day since we're on Labor Day. Most people just, is that Dad? Most people just think that it's, a holiday marking the end of summer and that type of thing. So, but I wanted to kind of give you a little history because I kind of wanted to know that too. So anyway, Labor Day, it pays tribute to the contributions and achievements of American workers. There are also other Labor Days around the world in other countries and everything, but they celebrate it on different days. A lot of them are May 1st, that type of thing. So anyway, it was created by the labor movement in 1894. So we're talking like 120 years ago, something like that. So, or 125 years. Oh, it's the 125th anniversary of Labor Day. How about that? Hey, Julie. Hello. Yes. Homesteaders are always laboring every day. Absolutely. So we are sorry, just got to move around here a little bit. So we've got Labor Day. So it was at the height of the Industrial Revolution that Americans were working 12-hour days and 7 days a week in order to eke out a basic living. Oops. Somebody else is laboring too. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's live, that's for sure. So despite some restrictions in some states, children even as young as 5 or 6 years of age toiled in mills and factories and mines across the country, just earning a fraction of what the adults would. So people of all ages, particularly the very poor and recent immigrants, often faced extremely unsafe working conditions with insufficient access to fresh air, sanitary facilities, and breaks. So as manufacturing increasingly supplanted agriculture as the wellspring of American employment, labor unions, which had first appeared in the late 18th century, which is like the 1700s, grew more prominent and vocal. They began organizing strikes and rallies to protest poor conditions and compel employers to renegotiate hours and pay. So some of those events turned violent during there. One was called the Haymarket Riot of 1886 in Chicago. It's Chicago's Haymarket market square type of thing. And so it was in September 1882. There were 10,000 workers that took unpaid time off to march from City Hall to Union Square in New York City. And that was, but anyway, that was to celebrate what had happened at the Haymarket Riot. What was going on there was that this rally in 1886 was organized by labor radicals to protest the killing and wounding of several of the workers during a strike. And it was at the McCormick Reaper Works. So anyway, during that rally, there were somebody, they don't know who, threw a bomb at the police. There were at least 8 people that died as a result of the violence that day. Then there were like a lot of trials and everything else that was going on. They could not figure out what was ending up being the cause, who was at fault or anything else. But on June 28, 1894, President Grover Cleveland actually signed into law that the legal holiday would be the first Monday in September to celebrate that and to honor all American workers. So in the oops, sorry, I got to catch up on my chats here first before I go into the next part. Yes, Christy, it is my mom. I'm going to introduce you to her real quick, but uh, making lemonade from lemons. Hello, how are you doing? So yes, we do need to take it off like Sunday, but I haven't been working that hard. But anyway, in the interest of the laborers and everything else, my great-grandfather, my great-grandfather was part of the Carpenters Union organization here in Minnesota. And my mom, hold on just a second. Hold on a second. Whoopsie. I'm just going to come outside here for a minute. So anyway, sorry, it was getting a little bit noisy in there. I know we have traffic out here, but so anyway, my great-grandfather was part of the whole union thing, and I have my mom here as my special guest.
Hello.
And her name is Barb.
Hi.
So so I've just got I had my computer stacked before, so sorry, I have to hold it now, so it's going to get a little wiggly. And I'm just invited my mom here to tell about my great-grandfather and the things that she knows about him. And so more family, hello. So anyway, Mom would tell me about great-grandpa Philip.
Well, my grandfather, my mother's father, was born in Ireland. His parents came from Ireland. He was born in New York, and at a young age, he started working. And he moved to Minneapolis, and he and my grandmother were married there. And he was a house builder, and he saw the need for the protection of the workers, and it was a great honor, I believe, that he was written up in the Minneapolis paper in the year 1908, in fact, February 7th, 1908, about his work in forming the Carpenters Union. And it says, the Carpenters Union of Minneapolis is elated over the appointment of one of the organizers of the proposed National Building Trades Council, which will be organized in Washington, D.C. next Monday. The new body will be launched under the auspices of the American Federation of Labor. We will have national jurisdiction over all union men engaged in the building trades. My grandfather was a house builder, with the possible exception of the bricklayers. He is one of the best known union men in this section of the country, and is at present one of the national organizers of the Carpenters International Union. He is a member of the Minneapolis Brotherhood of Carpenters, and for several years was business agent for that organization. This was quite an honor for my grandfather, and many tributes to him for his work.
Yeah, union. There are many ones that we talk about. There's a truckers union. There's sorry about this, guys. There's a truckers union, a teachers union, all the different unions, but this one specifically, it's okay. It's specifically kind of focused on those who were building houses and everything else, because our country grew so fast, and we came from Europe that didn't really have any type of regulations or safety, and that's why so many people fled Europe, was because the working conditions were terrible. They weren't earning the money, and they were unsafe and everything. So they didn't really know anything differently when they came to set up America. So when they're here, it's like all of a sudden they brought those same practices with, and things became unsafe. So these unions have really helped. Now, there's a lot of unions that have become way too powerful and way too big and everything, but we're not going to get into that because that's all political and everything. So I'm just giving you a little history of my great-grandfather and what his involvement was here. So.
Another item, Kathy, he had the honor of riding in a parade in Minneapolis with Theodore Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt.
And he also was an honorary chieftain by the Mohawk Indians because they honored him for his integrity and honesty. So that was kind of neat.
Yes.
So,
The Mohawks. Wow. Because and the Mohawks more of a they were not one of the peaceful groups of Indians either. So
well, he grew up in Malone, New York, you know, and that was the area where the Mohawks were. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So Mom's going to have a little bit more here on my great grandpa Philip. So,
well, he was.
Hope you guys can hear okay. We got traffic.
His own dad died when my grandfather was 4 years old. And so his mom raised the children by herself. They had 6 children. And my sister traveled to Malone in the 1990s and researched the family history. And there was an inventory sheet of workers and wages that shows that my grandfather at the age of 16 was employed by a doctor in the town in order to make money for school. And he was the first of the family of the 6 children to move to Minneapolis. And there's where he became a carpenter and a house builder. And he employed his nephew as an electrician to do the wiring in the houses. So it was kind of neat. I never did get to know my grandfather. He died in fact, on the day my older sister was born. So I did not get to appreciate him in person.
And likewise, my grandfather, Mom's dad, died before they were married. So I never got to know my grandpa Henry either. So the men in your line died young today. And all the women are...
The women killed him.
The women love to live forever, you know, into their 90s almost. So anyway, it's so what were some of the long-lasting effects from great grandpa Philip in what he did for the Union then? What would you say?
You know, I don't know a whole lot about that. This article that I was able to read was in the Historical Museum in St. Paul.
Okay.
And featuring him. But I'm sure that, you know, it brought fair wages and hours they weren't burned out by working 80 hours a week and things like that. And
probably safer conditions.
Conditions, absolutely. Yes. And so
there was, I don't know if any of you follow J House vlog or not, but they were at the St. Louis Arch this last week and did a video on that. And so they were sharing some of the history of it. And the workers would be, you know, 400 or 500 feet, however high that arch is, and they would be up there just walking around on beams and everything. It was like, oh my goodness. It was, you know, and I know they had a lot of safety going on too, but that was part of the construction for the carpenters, was being in these tall buildings with no safety at all, just up there. And you know, it was scary. I'm not a person for heights. So I don't know, but so this was your mom's,
my mother's dad.
Your mom's dad. Yeah. Okay. So, and great grandpa Philip's parents came from Ireland. So so he was first generation American.
Yes.
In that way. And so I know you guys cannot see the Irish in me at all. So it's people have guessed like right off the bat. So so Chrissy, your workplace almost joined the Carpenters Union many years ago. Oh, that's cool. JB, thanks so much. That was very sweet of you. Oh, Chrissy Beth says, hi, Mom.
Oh.
So your internet is dicey. Oh, I bet the storm is already affecting things too. Okay. Yes, knowledge is worth more than anything in your eyes. So thanks, JB. Yeah, it's like I said, there's a lot of really good unions. There are some, like I said, there's the politics getting into things that can affect it. But anyway, wanted to just share that little bit about Labor Day and the laborers and everybody who's out there working. Sorry, this is kind of wiggling around. I'm just holding my computer with one hand. So just going to stay on for about another 10 minutes so that I can actually head back home into the storm and where things are. So, Mom, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. You guys say goodbye to my mom.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much, Mom. So I'll just stay out here. So, okay, we're good. So Christy, yes, history is great, isn't it? I mean, there's just like so much. So FDVG, your grandmother and grandfather came over from Ireland during the Great Potato Famine. Into the Depression. You want to be there, World War II in the United States. Okay, yeah. Hey, Food Forest Permaculture, hello. How are you doing? So, yep. My, give a little disclosure right now. My parents are 89, so they were both born right at the beginning of the Depression in 1930. And so they lived through that whole thing. And my dad is a Korean War vet. My uncles were in World War II. And so they're yeah, it's a lot of patriotism there too. So thanks, Making Lemonade from Lemons. I appreciate that. It's kind of cool history. My mom's very, she's put together like a book this thick of just papers and different things for us that, now we have a helicopter. They're not after me. I know that. That gives like snippets and everything of family history from both of her sides and both my dad's side. And so we've got all this history that's coming down, like she was just reading an article from the newspaper over 100 years ago. And so she's been saving things like that and sharing them with us. And so it's kind of neat. So JB, yes, she was a teacher, actually. She was an English teacher. And before she got married, she taught at a school. And things like that. You know, I don't have any mods here today. I will have to change that up at some point. But so yes, she was an English teacher, and then as she was raising us, I'm one of 6. Well, hey, Grammy Karen, there you are. You're here. So it's Miss T. I think the trolls are on vacation. I hope so. They're taking the day off. It's Labor Day, right? So anyway, they where was I? Oh, my mom is a teacher. Yes. So when we were growing up, she did some substitute teaching at the high school and everything for once in a while. But hey, Armed American Patriot, hello. Thanks so much for coming. Okay, Christy. Yeah, you know, there's not always, but typically, you know, there's like one person in a family who gets really, really interested in their heritage, family tree, all that kind of stuff. And so that's great. You know, all the rest of us can kind of ride on their coattails. But my mom has just done so much in giving us like laying out like where all of our ancestors are even buried, you know, and like what's towns and what cemeteries and where they are and the names and the history. And we've got it all the way back to the 1700s, which is really cool. So so it's really kind of fun. Anyway, I knew that my great grandpa had been part of establishing some of the unions there, and he was a very, very fair man too. So he was. It wasn't like one of those nasty things that you hear about, like with the mafia and stuff like that. So don't even go there. It was not good there. So oh no, that's quite all right, 50 VG. I was just like, we're getting interrupted with some other people here too, and I am going to. She is very sharp for 89. She definitely is. So both my mom and dad are. So yeah, I won't be on for the full hour tonight. just because we've got a big storm coming, and I just want to get on the road before and get home before that hits, talking possible hail and all kinds of other stuff. So I don't like driving in a lot of hail. It's, I always think it's going to break my windshield or something like that. So, hey, Double P Farm, thanks so much for coming. So, hey, Robin R., happy Labor Day to you too. So I'm out. Thank you, Christy. Thanks. So I know it's kind of wiggling here. I was set up inside, and then we had a little bit of chaos going on in there. So I had stacks and everything I could put my laptop on, and now I'm just holding it. So I'm not that steady here, holding on to it. But yeah, no, hail isn't good. And I've got so many tomatoes on the vine right now that are ripening, and hopefully they'll be protected enough and won't get all damaged. I mean, you could use the rain, but I don't want the hail. So, as well as like all the fields, I mean, our corn is fields and fields of corn. They're just absolutely gorgeous right now, but the kernels are still soft. They're pretty much fully developed, but they're still soft. And I just hope that the farmers can make it through without that getting damaged, because that's huge. Thank you, Robin. That's a good tip. I really appreciate that. So, so you guys, I hope everybody's having a great day. So, oh, good to see you, Food Forest Permaculture. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate that. And yeah, happy Labor Day and everything. So, hi, Alicia. No, I'm actually in Minnesota. So I'm far away from the hurricane, but we still get plenty of strong storms here. I don't see anybody on here right now who is in the track of the hurricane. I might be wrong here, but I don't see anybody here. And I would imagine anybody, especially in Florida, is already either hunkered down or hightailing it out of there. So, hey, Rob, UK, hello. So, thanks, Grammy. Karen, appreciate that. So, so yeah, just be praying for them. Oh my goodness, that's an intense storm. So intense. I have not even seen pictures yet from the Bahamas. I would imagine that all of their communications and electrical infrastructure is probably down, so they can't even really, unless there's news stations there with like generators and things like that, they might be able to get some images out and everything. But yeah, I'm praying that fizzles out quickly. So that's a big hurricane, and we still have a lot of season left to go. I don't know if you guys have looked from past it, because most of the hurricanes are generated from the west coast of Africa. They come, it's like the heat builds up off of the desert and everything. So it's the Sahara. So there's a lot of heat that's generated off of there from this time of year, and it hits the prevailing winds and the warm ocean currents and everything right off the west coast of Africa. And so it hits that, and then there are tropical depressions. It starts out as just a little storm, just, kind of a, what do they call it, even before a depression. But anyway, it sets up as a depression, starts building up and goes different directions once it hits the Atlantic. And that all depends on the other forces in the atmosphere at that point too. It's like where we have other storms where there are high pressure systems, low pressure systems, that all dictates where those storms end up going. But there are, this morning I looked at, and there were 3 more systems right after Dorian that were sitting out there that could be possible developments into either tropical storms or hurricanes. So we have to really, really watch that. There is one actually on the off the west coast of Mexico right now in the Pacific. There's a hurricane out there. There's a storm system in the Gulf right now too. So there's it's just volatile out there right now. And so yeah, so we gotta really, really watch and really pray for everybody. So yeah, Bahamas took the hit. Oh yeah, Cat 5 hitting those little islands is just insane. So so Alicia, your weather network in Canada just showed a home video of 15 feet of water outside of a man's house with him inside. Oh my goodness. I know they were saying it was 23-foot, not even just storm surge, but the increase in the height of the water levels and most of the island is just like 10 feet above sea level or something like that. But anyway, at the most, maybe 5 feet above sea level. So the what do you call it? So the water level was supposed to be 23 feet, and which would totally cover and decimate every home there and first floor of any building that was higher than that. So so anyway, yeah, those are rough seas off of Africa, Christy. They really are. Hey, Gil, hello. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate that. So I am at my parents' house right now, which is about 80 miles from where I live, and I was visiting them and doing a little bit of work out here and had a barbecue and all that kind of stuff. And for those who missed it, we were talking about the history of Labor Day a little bit, and I ended up I interviewed my mom about my great-grandfather, who was part of establishing the Carpenters Union. So not only he was born in New York, but he established it here in Minnesota. So I think it was actually for a lot of things. So anyway, she read an article from the Minneapolis Tribune from 110 years ago that wrote up an article on him. So anyway, it's kind of cool, the history that was there. Yes, Chrissy, I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. Yep, Alicia, that's where the ones start that come across the Atlantic. There are some that will start right in the Gulf, depending on all the conditions and everything. They can start right off the coast of Mexico, but the ones like Dorian that get started, it's systems that can come from across there. So, yep. It was a good interview, Robin. Yes, thank you. It was fun to have like a little guest here, and she's never been. Sorry, the bug. She's never been live on YouTube for one thing, but on any type of show. So she did really well. So she was really good. She's like, I'm too old to be on here. It's like, Mom, no, you're good. So anyway. I am going to let you guys go. So, oh, Alicia, where are you? If you're supposed to get it around Friday, so you must be further up the coast then, right? Thank you, Chrissy. I will let her know that. So, yes. So I'm going to let you guys all go. And thank you so much for being here. I just hope you have a great day. I did. I put out a video yesterday, so I know a lot of you have already seen it and everything, and I appreciate that so much. I actually edited 2 videos yesterday, so I'll have another one in another couple days, and I'm trying to get caught up on my backlog. And it's like all gardening stuff, and I have one DIY thing. So anyway, I'm working at it. It just takes a while, and I just have not had that time. So anyway, all right. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it, and I love y'all. And I'm so grateful for your support and all that you do for me. So you guys take care. God bless, and we'll see you next Monday. Bye-bye.